What is up, friends? Good to be with you. Good to see you. Not sure who all's in the room yet, but we are live. Coming in about a minute early. I know we're supposed to start at the 8 p.m. Eastern Standard mark. I got some music playing in the background. I'm not sure you guys can hear that, but if you're in and you can see it, you can hear me, make sure you guys let me know. We got some things to cover tonight before I got to take off and pick up my son from his theater group tonight. So yeah, one of my sons play basketball. One of my sons is into theater, and I'm with that, support that. So Arturo, how you doing, man? Sound is not good, Arturo. Can you hear the music in the background? Audio not good. Audio not good. No music. I'll turn the music off. How about that? How about that? Is it better now? I was trying to play some music over top, a little intro music. Um, Noise canceling. Okay, okay. You try to have some fun, get a bit of upbeat music going as we get started, and yet, YouTube has a way to shut it down. So I'm sure we'll figure that out here pretty soon. Now sound is crystal clear. I'm glad to hear it. Glad to be able to give you guys that. I hope you guys are doing well. Everyone's excited to do another Amy A Ask Me Anything session. I've got about 50 minutes with you guys that I get to go through all your questions. I'm sure you guys are excited. Of course, as always, I never come to our time here together unprepared. Always want to make sure that I've got something for you to cover. And boy, oh boy, do I have something for you guys to look at and to cover in this market. We're always trying to talk about the market. We're trying to talk about finance. We're trying to talk about money. We're trying to talk about portfolios. Can you manage my portfolio? Unfortunately, Arturo, I can't do that, but we are coming out with some things that might be able to help you do that a little bit better. So let's see. In this volatile market, I'm hearing advice to make calls in the money versus out of the money, be more conservative. What's your take on that? Rabbit, these are great questions that I'm going to save to the Ask Me Anything part, but make sure you guys drop your questions in here. I'm going to create an entire note section where I'll be putting in your questions for the AMA Ask Me Anything session. Before I do that, I always like starting off with a little topic here, right? A little topic I'd like to go over. Here's the topic. Kids sports, right? Kids sports. I was on a basketball tournament this weekend. I'll show you a photo of being there with my youngest son, Tyler, down in Miami. Thankful his team won the tournament. But I'm curious your guys' opinion on like parents at these tournaments. All right. As more folks kind of trickle into the room, I just want a little topic here to start with, just because it's top of mind. I'm a competitive guy. I want to win. I like to win. That's why we're here talking about the markets. That's why I love the markets, because I'm competitive. It makes me, force myself to be the best version of myself, to be able to bring that version to the market. When I'm not, I don't do well. But when I'm at 11-year-old basketball tournament and parents are losing their mind on the sidelines, I'm curious your guys' opinion about that in the chat, because I look at that and I think to myself, I know it's a championship game. I know you drove here 3 hours like we did to get here. I know that. And I know you want to see your kid do well. But to eviscerate a referee because of a call that they just missed, to me, it's kind of like, it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't want to judge parents. I know everyone's got their own thing going on, and you spend a lot of money and spend a lot of time. But it's kind of like, I didn't know this for sure, but I think I saw the face of the kid whose parent was losing their mind. And it just looked like this face of utter dread on the kid. Like, oh gosh, here we go again. Right. And the parent got thrown out. Like, you got thrown out of an 11-year-old basketball game. What is that parent thinking in the parking lot? Again, no judgment here, no judgment, right? But I just sitting there thinking to myself, like, when the parent outside, are they like storming back and forth? Like, are they waiting for the ref to like come out? Are they like telling their kids afterwards, like, hey, sorry, I lost it? Or are they saying, hey, you got to fight for what's right? I mean, here's the thing. This is the analogy I'm going to draw. Okay. When you're in the markets are always right. You think it's going to go up, it goes down? That's right. You think it's going to go down, it goes up? That's right. That's right. You can't control it. You can't change it. It is what it is. You can control your emotions in it. I feel the same way about an 11-year-old basketball game with the referee. He's the ref. He could call whatever he wants. He could call moonwalking. It doesn't matter, right? You can't control it. Like, I just don't understand the value of going nuts and getting tossed. When it's a situation that you have to step in, understanding and knowing you can't control it. There's no control. It is their world, their kingdom. They're the king. They're the ref. What they're called, what they say goes. This guy was like, look, I videotaped it and I got the video and I want to show you. Like, they're not going to do an instant replay review of your camera, you know? And I say this to all of us as traders, because in the market, friends, market's always right. Doesn't matter what you think. Doesn't matter what you want. It's always right. You just have to bow to its will and go along and keep yourself under control. So that's my 2 cents for you. But man, oh man, I was just sitting there like mystified. Like, what is this person thinking? Hey, if my kid lost by 30 and their team did lose by 30, our team smashed them, had a great game. My son had 22 and 11, and I'll show you a photo of him in a second. But like, you don't need to get that mad. You don't get that mad, and don't get that mad in the market, right? Anyway, so let's dive into this Ask Me Anything session. I'm going to go through probably about the next 25 minutes where you guys get to drop your questions in the chat. Let me know. I'm going to put them up. I'm going to make sure I answer them because, you know, I do enough other of my services and teaching lessons and sessions to where there's a lot of extra, you know, kind of questions that get left over. Or maybe you're just new to trading. You don't know anything about what I'm doing and all my other services. You're just like, hey, I'm new to this. I got a question. This is your time, my friend. So questions for the Ask Me Anything session. Drop them in here. The first one was about in the money versus out of the money options in this market. What's better? Great. Okay. What you mean? Okay. Trigger means get in, Chris. That's what trigger means, get in. All right. Where can I find more videos of how you use the Momo scanner? Arturo, you can find those in Options Income Trader. Yep. Okay. There's a specific question about MSTR. We're going to talk about that. I'll put that in there. Again, these are general questions, friends. General questions. If you're asking a question about one of the services and people are like, what are they talking about? Then I'm not sure I can do that. Your charts are cool. It makes me feel like a real trader, but don't always know what I'm looking at. Would you do a short series of walking through those charts? Yes, I will. I'm going to put your question up there as well. We're going to cover that. What's going on in the charts? Cool. We'll do that. Let me go back and see. Let's see. When you bring up the options page, could you explain what we are looking at? Sure, I can do that. A good question. What are we looking at with the options page? Options chain. We'll talk about that. No problem. Give you a step-by-step to learn options if you're brand new. Yes, I'm actually coming out with that. We'll have that here soon on bensturgill.com. You can check that out. To learn options, brand new. I love teaching new people options. Okay. When you're in a winning trade, do you pick new options or just add to it? Good question, that as well. Put that in there. I'm going to try and get maybe 10 questions we can go through. Do you have a tool that helps you correlate stock price moves to options price moves? I will walk you through that as well. It's mostly math, but we can figure that out. Good question. Okay. Do you ever feel a concise issue with trading any particular company? Ooh, I like that question. From 11011101111, right? Funny username there. Try to be anonymous. Appreciate you. All right. Today, end of the trade, was it a bull trap? Could have been. Ben, would you update your page with the new charts? I'll try to. Can you tell me how much an option will be worth by how much it goes up? You can do that. Yep. I will teach you how to do that. Let's do that. Okay. Good question. Let's do a few more here. What do you need to tell your broker to set up an options account? I will go through that. Good question. Let's go to this. right? Okay. And let's see, is there a book that you'd recommend to learn about understanding candlesticks? Oh, yeah. Yes, there is. Okay. Ben, can you DM me something about our conversation about the master's class? Oh, what's up, Jackie? Can you DM me something? Yeah, I will DM you, Jackie. We'll talk. What's your most concise stock you've ever what is your most consistent stock you have created a solid pattern trading over and over again? I will talk about that. Okay. Let's see. And when they're triggered, is it like a 1 day, 2 day? It depends, Chris. You're talking about Iris. It just depends on if it keeps ripping. You got to have a plan. Do you sell premium too? Yes, I do. Let me talk about that. I'm not sure I'm going to get to all of these, but they're all good. I'm going to try and rip through them if I can, some of them that are shorter than others. How do you find expected move? I will talk about that. Howard, good question. Let me put that up. Let's see. Put that to add to that question, and then maybe one or two more, right? I will plug your courses on that. Oh, it's very sweet of you, the miner. Appreciate that. What's your criteria for picking what option to buy? Okay, let's end it with that one because that will be a good call. We're going to end it there. Lucky 14. Lucky 14. Okay, so here's what I got. Let me broadcast, and then that way you guys can see it, and you guys can see the questions. Okay, let's do it. Here we go. So these are all the questions we got here for the Ask Me Anything session. In the money versus out of the money options in this market, what's better? So a specific question about the MSTR calls. We can take a look at that. We'll say that to the end. Charts are cool, make you feel like a real trader. I don't always know what I'm looking at. Walk you through it. Yep, I can do that. When you bring up the options page on Thinkorswim, what do we look at? Walk you through that, no problem. Can you give me a step-by-step process to learn options if you're brand new? Yes, I'll give you a link to that. When you are in a winning trade, do you add or pick a different option? Good question. Do you have a tool that helps you correlate approximately? It's more math, but I can show you how. Do you ever feel a concise issue with trading in a particular company? Sometimes, yes. Can you tell me how much an option you will be worth by how much it goes up? Yes, that is called, friends, what's that called? That's called delta. Delta is what that's called. Okay. What do you need to tell your broker to set up options account? Is there a book? Yep. What's the most concise stock you've ever traded? It's solid pattern trading over and over again. Got it. And do you sell premium to or buy calls and puts? Yes. All right, let's do this. Okay. What do I look for when picking an option? Okay, let's go from the top down. All right, number one, pick an option. Number one, right? Let's go for this one. A is liquidity. Does it have enough open interest on the contract, right? I generally like to see over 1,000. Generally, that's what I like to see. All right, number two, B. Are the spreads, as in difference between the bid and ask, tight, as in less than 10% of the ask? All right, that's another one. C, is it in the money or out of the money? All right. I tend to go just out of the money, usually. D, what I like to do above and beyond this is it within the expected move? I'll show you where to find that. All right. So let's just go with these. All right. So here is how we would do this, right? So for today, du jour, right? We were on the 15-minute chart looking at a SPY call. Okay. And we saw SPY right on the 15-minute chart. What we saw, let me highlight here so we can just show you guys. We're looking for a pullback, right, to this kind of key area. We see this. This is the rising 50 SMA, right? Also a key level area about 660 was kind of 661 was kind of down here. But if you look at the past charts, right, you go back, let's say on the daily, what you recognize from today was that this level was a pretty decent level, right? To take a look at. So let me highlight it for us. Right, pretty decent level when you go back to like right here, right? 660, kind of this was another reversal level right here. 662, that's kind of what we were looking for. So I'm going to draw that and I'm going to highlight it in yellow. So you guys, I had it on another chart. I have it in this chart, but okay. So there we go, right? And we get this on the 15-minute chart on the intraday. We were looking for that support back there, right? For that support. Now, for me, what I'm doing is I'm looking at SPY, right? I'm looking for a SPY chart and I'm wanting to make sure, and this is going to lead into my next question for you guys. I want to make sure that, hey, if we could get a reversal on this name in confluence, meaning two things are happening at once, right? At the 662.83 mark from all the way back, all right? That and the 50 SMA, rising 50 SMA, we got a drop, we got a doji, we got another hammer candle that held. We got an equal candle and then the reversal here, right? We had this reversal. So that's kind of what we're looking for, right? We're looking for that reversal. And when I'm looking for this, I'm saying, hey, I want to get above, and on this reversal, it said like 664. So this is what I'm looking for. In or out of the money, just out of the money. I'm looking for right here on this example, the SPY 665 calls for Wednesday. So that today is the 9th that's for 311 in case this thing wants to keep ripping. For Wednesday, 311.26, right? Is it within the expected move? Let me show you this. This is where I'm going to show you this on the charts, okay? Here's SPY. And we go to March 11 and we look here. We say, what's the expected move? The expected move is up here to the right. You see this up here? $11.32. So was it within the expected move? Absolutely. So check, right? Check. $11. So we had room. Okay. Now what was the bid ask spread when we were looking for it? All right. Here's the 665 calls right here. Notice that now they're crazy. Okay, but back then the bid ask spread, right? The bid is 1404, the ask is 1455, the difference is 51 cents. Is that more 51 cents than 10% of the ask? Well, 10% of the ask is $1.40. 55 cents is about 3%. So check on that, right? Check. Check. Difference of only 3%. Right? And then you ask, is there liquidity? But friends, when you're trading SPY, there's a ton of liquidity. Look at this, tons of open interest. Okay, we had open interest. That's why we went with a 665 because you see right here, open interest. It had 111.15. This was the only one that had enough open interest. And then of course got a ton of volume today. So it was a go and that was a check. And let's see, check had 115 open interest contracts. So that's what I looked for. Now, let me use this to answer the next question, right? The next question, let me liquidity. All right, cool. All right. Now let's go to the next question. I feel like the chat stopped. All right. Now, do I look at the Greeks? Generally, I do look at the Greeks, but I could give you 10 factors. I'm trying to keep it short here. We're doing 4. That is my baseline. That's what has to happen. Now, do I consider the other Greeks? Of course. But, right, we're going to keep this one simple. Now, this is the question of up here, when you bring up the options on page on Thinkorswim, could you explain what we are looking at and how to find it? So I showed the expected move in the top right of the page, right? Now, You create your columns, right? My columns on the options chain are, and I'll walk you through them, right? I have theta, right, which is time decay, right? How much premium is lost during the day. And then I have open interest. How many open contracts? Exist, are still open, okay? And then I have percentage change. Tells me how much it's moved on the day. Like it's already moved 100%. I'm not trying to get into it because I probably already missed the move. Then I have BS, which is not Ben Sturgill, but it's bid size, right? The volume on the bid side. And then AS, which is ask size. Volume on the ask side. All right. Then I have delta, which is how much, if the ticker moves $1, how much will the option move up or down? Okay. And then I have volume, which is how many contracts have been traded on the day. All right. And then I have this next one, which is probability of touch, right? Which it gives you a percentage on what percentage that this thing will get there. So right here at the 665, what was the probability that it would get to that number, right? And the probability it will get to that strike price. I like to look at that probability. All right. And then notice the further we get out of the money, the lower that probability goes down. And then at the end, I just have bid ask. Bid. I'm gonna put this back up here. What people are willing to buy it for. Ask what people are wanting to sell it for. The difference between these become the spread. Okay. Does that answer your question? That's what we're looking at here on this page. Of course, this is the date, right? The strike price. This is the expiration date. These are the strike prices. Calls on the left, puts on the right, and then up here it's kind of giving you, different information, size, volatility, those types of things. But okay, cool. Hope that answers that question there in terms of what we're looking at, what I have up there. And in fact, I don't know for sure, but I think I can share that with you guys. If you want to make your columns look like my columns, you just got to go in there and do it yourself. So I'll try to see if I can find that. All right, let's go back down the bottom and keep going up. Do you sell premium to or just buy calls and puts on pullbacks for longer? The answer is yes. I love to sell premium, right? Why? Well, because if I sell calls, I get paid to get paid selling my shares at a higher price, right? And if I buy what's called cash, and I should say this, if I sell calls as in, and again, not naked, right? If I sell, covered calls, which means I have the shares, I get paid to get paid selling my shares at a higher price. Awesome. Okay. Cash secured puts, right? then I get paid to buy the shares at the lower price that I actually want them at. Right? Cash secured. Now, does it take a lot? It does. Right? It does. It does take a lot. I mean, if I'm selling, and I got Amazon shares, let me tell you, I got them. Been in that thing since my 13-year-old was a baby. And if you're in that and you have 100 shares of Amazon right now is $25,000. You have to have 100 shares to covered calls. And cash secured puts, if I were to, put in a, sell a put in order to be able to buy those shares at, let's say, $1.80, right? Then I got to have $18,000. But no, I love selling premium. I love it. Right? It's not something that I do in a lot of my services, but yes, and yes, I do love it. It is a great way to go if you have the liquidity to do it and the shares to do it. So yes. All right. What's your most consistent stock you have created a solid pattern trading over and over again? I would have to say either SPY or Amazon, right? SPY or Amazon. The more you trade something, the more you just know how it feels. And for me, I'll just go for SPY. I look for a reversal pattern. I look for reversal patterns at, right, extreme ATR levels. That is average true range levels, right? Yeah. So reversals at average true range levels, right? On pullbacks during trends. So that means calls on bullish trends or puts on bearish trends. Right? And so what I look for, the pattern is I look for on the 15-minute chart, I look for a what's called a minor low, right? So it makes a low. What is this? Makes a low, right? I love seeing this, especially on a doji candle. Then breaks above the high of the low bar. So again, this morning in SPY, notice this. This was the low bar, doji candle, kind of a doji candle, not a perfect one, but then matched it and then broke above the high of that low bar and boom, we were off. Okay. So that's a reversal candle. Wick, doji, break above the high of the low bar and boom, off we go. Right. And this thing came back down and, went up, came back down, found that same support there for confirmation. Reason I like this is because my risk is from 664 down to 662.80. My upside is back to high a day at 667. That's a great risk reward. I hope that makes sense. That's just one example in SPY. I'll save Amazon for later. Is there a book you'd recommend? Yes. Steve Neeson. I'm actually going to put the link in here for you guys. Steve Neeson, Candlestick book. And that is, I guess you can get it on Alibaba right now. Cool. Here, I'm going to go ahead and, this is a decent one. I'll send this to you. The Candlestick course. That's a good one. Oh, that's a big link. Whew. All right. Well, I'm not going to you'll find it with that link. That's enough. Okay, cool. What do you need to tell a broker if you want to set up an options account? That you have studied and are prepared to trade options, right? That's what they're going to ask you, that you've studied and that you're prepared to trade options, because they're not going to let you go in there without knowing anything, right? So enter at that first 15-minute green print. No, Noah, on the break above the high of the low bar. So this is what's the minor low is, right? Comes down low. Is that the low? No. Is that the low? No. Then the green candle break above the high of the low bar with the stop below the bottom, right? Stop below the bottom. All right. That you've studied options, right? Many brokers have courses or tests you can take to show you have studied. But if you have, and make sure you do, when you tell them you have studied, and even better, paper traded, they will let you, right? And there are 4 levels of options clearance, right? They might start you at 1, but you can show them what they need to move up to level 2, right? Okay, cool. All right, hope that answers your question. What time frame are you looking at? Tim, that's the 15-minute chart. And I put that in the notes, and you guys, I believe you'll get the notes, 15-minute chart. Okay, can you tell me how much an option you have will be worth by how much it goes up? Yes, Delta tells you that. So again, for example, when you look at SPY, right, here's the Delta line, right? These 6, let's just say these 680 calls, if they go up, if SPY goes up $1, these things should go from, whatever you buy them from here, let's say 368 up 40 cents. So add 40 cents to that. Where does that put you? Put you at 408. All right. That's what it should be if SPY goes from here, 678 to 679.27. But look, let's just say it goes down $2. These things should go down $2. Now, keep in mind with options, 2 things are happening. Theta's eating it. That's the premium, right? Over time. So that's the other factor you got to weigh into as well. That's why the numbers don't work out exactly, but close enough. Delta will tell you how much it moves up or down if the ticker moves $1. Cool. Do you ever feel a conscience issue with trading any particular company? I'd say yes, there are some companies I just don't like, right? For example, Hood. I don't like Hood. Their name is Robinhood, which is the idea of, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, but they actually got started by stealing from the poor and giving the rich. They sold your order flow to institutions. But that said, right, I don't like Hood. I also don't like UAL. That's United Airlines, because I've had so many terrible experiences with them. I just don't like them. I don't mind shorting them, but I don't like them, right? That said, right, there's another trader I know that says, look, we aren't mercenaries or politicians. We can have our opinions, but we are fiduciaries to our families. If the market gives you an opportunity to take care of your family, take it, right? That's what somebody else has said. So now Jester is saying, can you go over what liquidity is? Sure. This is liquidity. right? This is is there enough open interest so that when you get in the option, there is somebody else willing to buy it from you? Let me give you another name here, right? Let's go to AAOI, okay? And let's look up these. Some of these have, like this has 7 in it, 7 options open interest, which means there's only 7 open contracts, which means there's not that much interest in that contract, which means you could buy it, it could go up, but will there be somebody on the other side to buy it from you when you want to sell it? That's liquidity, all right? Sounds like what Jay-Z said. Yeah, Mike, that's exactly that's exactly what Jay-Z said. Not Jay-Z, the singer, Jeff Zananeri. That's what he said. And he's right, which is why I quoted him, right? Solid. That's good advice, I think. Do you have a tool that helps you correlate approximately stock price move? Not exactly. But you can look at both charts and line it up, right? Here's what I mean. Example in AAOI, right? Last week, I called out the AAOI April 17, 115 calls on a pullback to 90. Now, right? Let me show you these 2 charts. How you do this. Okay, it's not exact, but it's approximate, right? Let me move this and move these 2. Okay, cool. So here is these 2 charts. Let's go here for AAOI. Notice I had my levels and it did pull back to that 90 mark. So if you go over here to the same time frame, daily time frame, and you go AAOI 260417 calls for 115. The last time AAOI got down to that level, right? The last time it was at that level, right? It was like here. You see where I'm here and I'm there. You can see it brings it up about $4. And so I said, hey, if this thing can get back into the cloud, into about, this level, about $8 right here, then I would like it. Why? Because when this thing gapped up, again, just look at it. It gapped up from here, where it closed the day at 4, to here, where it closed the day, right, on this up here at 17. And so what's that difference? 17 minus 4, that's 13. So if I went from 110 to 90, that's 100, that's 95, right? Half of 13 is 6.5. 6.5 should be about 1350. So if I just cut that in half down to 90, that would be at about right here. And then I called these things out and said, hey, if this thing wants to pull back in the cloud right here, about $8, I just estimate. Maybe AOI is not the best example, but I'm just saying, maybe we find another name, but you can roughly estimate the 2. So maybe we bring up that SPY trade, right? Let's go. SPY is not going to be a good example either. Vertiv. I just did Vertiv. Okay. Vertiv. We're going to do Vertiv over here. And then let's call out the Vertiv, what I called out. Let's go to the Vertiv VRTV 26. Let's see which ones I called out here. The March 20. No, I'm sorry, April 17, 290 calls. April 17, 290 calls. So 0417 calls for 290. Okay. Now, this is what I want you to look at. If I'm saying, hey, look, I'd like to buy it back here at 240, and that was 2 days ago. Where was price at that bottom? It was down here. Can you see that? Right? So if you're looking to buy it on that pullback, it's not going to be exact, but you can say, hey, at the bottom there in the morning, about 240, price here was about 650, right? 660. So that's how I find it, right? So I'll use that example so you guys can have it. Vertiv, right? Example, VRTV. I called out the April 17, and we said the 290 calls on the pullback to 240, right? And 2 days ago, when price for VRTV was at 240, the price of these options were 660. That's how I found it. Right? Hope that makes sense. Now, does could the delta change? Well, again, that will depend on the implied volatility. Yes, as the VIX is going all over the place, that can change, which is why I say it's not exact. Not exact. All right. When you're in a winning options trade, do you add or pick different options? Sometimes I add if it pulls back to support levels. But, right, if it's working, I usually pick an option that is further dated out so I can give it more time to work, right? That's why. So I'll give you an example. Let me move this off and I'll tell you what I mean. Let me go for a recent idea. Give me 1 second. Let me find a recent idea I could call upon here. Let me find a recent one just so I can make sure I'm giving you the best of the best. Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. So today we'll go over a short dated one. Today, 5 minutes, right? On the 5 minute chart, right? There was HIMS this morning, HIMS. And on the 5 minute chart, what I was looking for is a retest here, right? Same type of reversal candle, right? And I called out HIMS. I said, hey, we saw the 2050 calls, right? And I'm looking for them, these 2050 calls over 2180, right? On a break of 2180. So this thing pulled back and I wanted to see this thing break over 2180. Now, somebody tell me why. Well, right? Why? Well, because there's a previous level, but I wanted to see that reversal, that clear reversal, same type of pattern I just showed you guys with SPY. And you look at the HIMS trade, right? And that's HIMS 260313 calls for 25. Oh, that's not the one. I messed something up. Oh, because there's no S. All right, there we go. All right. Now you put this thing on a 5 minute chart. Let me show you. Okay. Now what you can do if you want to is we know price reverts back to the mean. Here's the mean on the options chart. When price reverts back down to the mean to this level, can you buy it? Yes. That's where I might add to a name. Price goes up, it broke that level. I bought it here. I traded out here, came back down, stopped me out, break even. But could I add to that same option here? 100%, right? 100%. Could have definitely done that. But where might I add a further outdated name? Well, let's look at the same thing for Google today. Google crushed it today, right? Up and up and up and up and up and up and up. And this thing just kept on working. So had I gotten to Google calls in the morning, and I might have, right? And it just kept on working. I might like Google might look at the bounce, and this might be the beginning. And why did I buy Google this morning? Well, because it pulled back to this key support level I had targeted at 294, right? And it broke that downward trend line. You guys see the downward trend line. I don't have to show it to you, right? Boom, broke the downward trend line. Great. Okay. And so perfect. This might be the run back up here to 320. So when I saw 317.50 calls on the Goog hit the scanner for March 20th, I added that as well. Hope that answers your question. Yeah, hope that works for you. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So example today, Google was strong all day, and looking at the longer term chart, it could be the start of the bounce. So I added March 20. I added, I think it was Goog March 20, 317.5 calls. Hope that helps. All right, we're getting through it, and I'm just about out of time. I got 5 minutes. Can you give me a step-by-step process to learn options where I'm brand new? I would say check out bensturgill.com and sign up for free, and there are options, classes there. Okay, we answered question number 4. Your charts are so cool. Can you get a step-by-step? I'm going to be doing a tech walkthrough of that. So, again, sign up at bensturgill.com, and I will be giving you my charts and walking you through them for free. All right. I'll look at MSTR before we're done. And in the money versus out of the money, what's better? Okay. In a choppy market where there is little to little follow through, I prefer at the money or in the money options, because there is less likely, there's less probability that names will get in the money. So in these markets with a high VIX, I tend to go in the money or at the money, right? When VIX is below 1975, then I look for further out of the money calls because it can have follow through. When is the next 2-day workshop? End of the month, Howard. End of the month. Okay. Last one I'm gonna deal with you guys with here is, let me do this, MSTR. And these are the MSTR calls. Give me the exact MSTR calls. I generally do not go beyond a 70 delta, Rabid. I usually go between 30 and 70. But we look at MSTR. MSTR is setting up for a potential reversal. MSTR, I like this. Look, bottom, starting to make higher low or higher highs. This was the previous high, higher highs. If MSTR can get above 150, yes, sir, right? If MSTR, I'm gonna put these notes up for you guys, can get above 150, I do like it for a move higher. Why? Good risk to reward. Right? For me, on this one, I would say stops probably would be at 140 and targets could be up here at 175, right? Stops 140, target 175. Now, this is a very important lesson, right? A copy of the notes. Yeah, I'm going to get you guys a copy of the notes before you leave, I promise, right? So what is the risk if I get in at 150? $10. What's the reward if I get in 150 and get out at 75? $25. That is a 2.5 to 1 risk to reward. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. All right. Great. All right. So here's our notes. Ask Me Anything session 3/9/26. Let me put this in a Google Doc and I'll share the link with you guys. Give me un momento, por favor. Okay. Anyone with the link? Good. Copy the link. And going back to y'all, here it is, my friends. This is the link for you guys. If you guys want to click on that link, save that link right now, copy and paste it, save it so that you guys can have this information. This has been recorded. You can go back and watch it. I answered your questions and tried to help you out. And make sure if you guys are not already subscribers, subscribe so you guys can get alerted for future sessions I'm going to do. And I'd love your feedback in terms of what are some of the ideas you'd like me to do. Heck, I've toyed with the idea of doing a Bible study on finance and money. But if that's just for me and everyone's like, nah, I'm not going to go to that. Well, then, no worries. But again, I'm here to serve, help, and see that you, become better traders, that you guys have more insight, understanding, and ability to be able to take control of your financial future. Life is about, hey, what was that old prayer? The old prayer is, God grant me the peace to accept the things I cannot change. And the resolution to change the things I can, the strength to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. And so there's certain things we can't change, like the market, like referee at a kid's basketball game. But the things we can change are emotion, who we are in the market. We can learn and grow doing that. And so that's what I'm here to help you guys with. Make sure you check out bensturgill.com to get all the free resources that are over there. Sign up. Love to be able to make sure I help you guys with that. And yeah, it looks like there's some interest in the Bible study. So maybe I'd do that. Sign up for that. That's cool. I got a lot to say about what scripture says about money, because it's all about mindset right there. So, all right, friends, I got to go pick up my middle son from his drama theater core thing tonight. Yeah, Serenity. That's right. And again, I hope this was helpful to y'all. I certainly love being with you guys. Love answering your questions. Love making sure you guys have what you need. As is RI. Do I ever use GEX data? Yes, I do use GEX data, but that's a little bit too advanced for us right now. A bit too advanced. Okay. That's right. The Serenity prayer. That's right. That's awesome. Oh, let me show you this one last thing. This one last cool thing I want to show you guys before I let you go. This is a photo of me and my son this past weekend at his basketball game when he won the championship. So proud dad. Tyler, look at this one. Champions. That's right. I was pumped for him. He had 22 points, 11 rebounds, but more importantly, he was nervous and he overcame, controlled himself. And the team they played in the championship, he didn't have any points against the first time. When they played him, won by 7. First game, that game, he had 22 points. They won by 29. I said, Tyler, you're the difference. You step up. That's what it's all about. All right, friends, be good. Be good to others. Make sure you guys check out bensturgill.com and subscribe so we can do this again sometime soon. All right, friends, be good. Be good to somebody else. We'll talk to y'all soon. See ya.